This is John Street here. On the count of 3, we're gonna ooh and ah. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Ah. John Street was named the most beautiful and most picturesque street to walk down in the United States. Wow. Southern Living magazine gave us that title back in 2017. Y'all know what else? I found my house. It's on John Street, y'all. 118 East John Street. Now, do not go on Zillow looking up my house, okay? I have already claimed that house. That's what I told my husband. That's what I want for Christmas. So, y'all wish me luck, okay?
Yeah, okay.
I want the house for Christmas from my husband, and for my kids, they need to give me a city. Now, I know I'm a little ambitious, but I think it'll happen. Hopefully.
Hi everybody, my name's Randy.
And I'm Diane.
And we're Zephyr Travels, and today we're in Savannah, Georgia, and we are taking an Old Town Trolley Tour around the city. We find these tours are a great way to get your bearings and get an idea of what you see, and then you can hop on and off and see other things and spend some more time in different areas.
Yeah, so let's get going on our tour.
Yeah, we'll take our tour and we're going to stop at a couple of the places.
Second of England granted James Everett Oglethorpe and 20 other trustees a charter to form a new colony. That colony would be, of course, the colony of Georgia. It was the 13th and the last colony that was ever formed. Now, Oglethorpe handpicked 114 men that he thought were trustworthy and hardworking to come and help him build up the brand new colony of Georgia. In April of 1703, they set sail on a ship named Anne. That's where they landed at the Creek Nation Yamacraw Bluff. That's also where they met the chief of the Yamacraw Indians. His name was Chief Tamachichi. Now, Tamachichi and Oglethorpe, y'all, they were such good friends that some people even say Tamachichi is the co-founder of the colony of Georgia. In fact, they were such good friends that upon Tamachichi's death in 1739, Oglethorpe gave him a full military funeral and served as a pallbearer in Tamachichi's funeral. Now, back in 1734, Oglethorpe and Tamachichi, they went back to England so that they can sign what they call the Treaty of Friendship. Now, that treaty just basically determined which land will remain the Yamacraw Bluff territory and which land will become the territory of England and the brand new colony of Georgia. Now, guys, when Oglethorpe came over here, he already knew what he wanted Savannah to look like. He started out with 24 park-like squares. We did lose 2 of those squares to the development of the city, so now we're down to 22 of those park-like squares. You guys will see about 13 of those squares throughout the tour.
Our first stop off the tour is going to be the Savannah Visitor Center. We're going to head in here and see what there is to see. We did see some trains, so that might be kind of neat. Well, we stopped here at the Visitor Center to get a snack before we start checking out what's here.
Right. Just a little sustenance before we start to walk.
Yep. Now, we did start our day at the campground, and the trolley sent a shuttle bus to the campground to pick us up. So that was nice. It saved us having to drive down here and find a place to park.
Yeah, because probably taking the trolley tour is the best way to go because there's so much to see.
Yeah.
That you might have to take like a week to see it all.
Yeah, we will, see what we can see today, but we do have a deadline at 4 o'clock to get the shuttle back. And I think the trolley's only run to 5 anyways. Mm-hmm. So we figured we'd pick a couple spots that we would stop at and check them out, and then, hopefully get back in time to get our shuttle back.
Well, it's only 11:30.
Mm-hmm. It seems like it was about 90 minutes to loop around the full city. So we've actually ridden the trolley around the city once already, just to see what was around. So
Right.
it took about 90 minutes because I think we got on about 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's more to see than what we're going to have time to see it.
I think so.
Muffin's pretty good.
I know. Very moist.
Yeah. By the way, I'm now known as Anthony. Our first stop off the trolley is the Georgia State Railroad Museum. This is located just behind the Visitor Center at the former Central of Georgia Railway repair shops. We thought this would be interesting as we were both railroad fans. This trolley looks to be functional. Probably they get it out for special events and such. Pretty cool. Savannah and Atlanta. So this is the roundhouse where they would come and store the trains and do service on them. This turntable is one of, I think they said 4 in the country that are still operational. This building originally was a complete circle, and this half of the building was enlarged as steam engines got larger. And then over the years, this side of the building was removed. It was the oldest and smallest. So only half of the building remains today.
You've ever been to a train museum like this?
No, well, just being in a roundhouse is unique.
Yeah.
This is the maintenance area of the roundhouse. The pit would be right there, and they would be able to go underneath and service the cars and engines, replace the brakes, and do whatever other service might be needed. Maybe an engine overhaul or something would be done here. This section of the roundhouse was the locker room and lavatory for the colored shopmen. Back then, they had separate facilities for white and colored people. This section of the roundhouse is where they had the drop table. Now, the drop table allowed them to lift the locomotive up and remove the wheels and axles for repair. It looks like that drop table in that area is still being used today to refurbish some of these old engines. This building is the blacksmith shop where a lot of the parts were formed to maintain the trains. Now they had a series of blacksmiths working in here that would forge iron parts or shape iron parts. And over here they had areas where they could do brass and bronze parts for bearings and such. Everything on the trains had to be pretty much manufactured right here to keep them running. So what did you think of the Savannah Railroad Museum?
Oh, it was just okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, nothing spectacular.
Well, if we had more time, maybe.
Yeah, if he had more time to kind of look around and take the train ride.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely would have been worth it to get on a little train ride and do that. I'm sure we kind of cut it short because we've only got a certain amount of time today to do everything, and we put a cutoff point in our time there to leave. But it was kind of neat. I've never seen a roundhouse in action like that before.
No, that's true.
So that was neat to see that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not real big.
What we saw, it's not real big.
Yeah, but
I
I think we saw most of it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you had the map. I didn't.
Yeah, you know, the buildings and, you know, in the roundhouse there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Taylor Square is the only square in the city named after a woman. That's also the only square in the city named after an African American. Her name was Miss Susie King Taylor. Now, Susie King Taylor followed her husband. His name was Edward King. He was a non-commissioned African American officer in the Union forces. She followed his regiment for a full 3 years and served as a laundress as well as a nurse in that regiment. Now, what I admire about Miss Susie King Taylor is her bravery. And now we are coming up to stop number 8. If you are interested, I ask that you please wait until I open my doors before you stand up to exit.
Thank you, sir. Look. Bazooka. Our tour included tickets to America's only Prohibition Museum, which is located in the Market Square in downtown Savannah.
The American people have done
He's the architect of Prohibition, Wayne Wheeler. So this lady's Carrie Nation. Carrie A. Nation. Prohibition drives drunkenness behind doors and into dark places and does not cure it or even diminish it. Mark Twain. So when Prohibition passed, John Barleycorn, a fictitious character that symbolized alcohol indulgence, was laid to rest by both the wets and the dries, while the wets held tongue-in-cheek funerary halls and mock burials. The dries staged mass rallies and threw parties to celebrate their success. For myself, if booze ever comes back to the United States, I'm going through with a manufacturing that I wouldn't be interested in putting automobiles into the hands of a generation that's soggy with drink. One good thing they didn't do that. And it's really what it came down to is, money.
Yeah.
And they losing all that tax income.
Does anyone really believe it is the function of government to regulate the habits and appetites of the people rather than provide them with jobs? The Danish Times.
Foreign vessels are now carry our tourist trade, all getting American dollars. Prohibition is ruining our merchant marines. 600 American vessels are tied to the docks. 400,000 American soldiers fought for liberty and were rewarded with prohibition. How come? To Congress, who cared for our people soldiers, are willing to take care of ourselves. Prohibition started the moonshine business, where farmers made whiskey at night in the woods.
Prohibition says you can't make alcohol, no way. Legal or illegal. All the city saloons closed, all the business, and you cannot buy, drink, sell alcohol nowhere. Well, guess what? The breakfast for the moonshiners, that business is booming here. That took off like crazy. I've been working this steel day and night.
Prohibition made Walgreens, and they had prescription whiskey. At the start of Prohibition, they had a single drugstore in 1901. By the end of Prohibition, they had 525. So Prohibition brought upon the gangsters, especially Al Capone and Bugsy Moran. Moonshiners put more time, energy, and thought and love into their cars than any racers will. Lose on the track and you go home. Lose with a load of whiskey, you go to jail. Junior Johnson, NASCAR legend. Moonshiner car. A little extra cargo in the trunk.
No, St. Patrick's Day is the biggest holiday that we celebrate here in Savannah. Now, we are open. Old Town Trolley is open every single day of the year, y'all. Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, Easter. We open every day except St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
I told my mama that. I was like, girl, we closed on St. Patrick's Day. She was like, why? St. Patrick's Day is really, really big here. And I promise, if we had somewhere to go, meaning if the streets weren't all blocked off, we probably would be open on St. Patrick's Day too. But when I tell y'all the streets are all blocked off on St. Patrick's Day, in fact, in 2023, we celebrated our centennial. We had our centennial parade. Y'all, it was over 2 million people here in this city.
Oh my goodness.
2 million. Now, our population is about 140,000. Can y'all imagine 2 million people in this city of Savannah?
I'll stay in the house.
We were shoulder to shoulder, y'all. Now, over here to the left of us, like I said, you'll see a white building with the white flags in front of it. That's actually where the committee of St. Patrick's Day hold their meeting. Now, we start about a week early. We call it St. Practice Day. We first turn the fountain on Forsyth green. Then we turn all the food green. Then all the beer gets turned green. Child, after a while, your face gonna be green. You're eating all that green food. And you're not gonna remember nothing because you're gonna be real drunk. Drunk. From drinking all that beer.
well, we finished our trolley tour and it was exceptional. We got off and toured the Prohibition Museum, which was very interesting. We would recommend that.
Yeah.
And
It's about a $20 per person upcharge on the tour.
on the ticket. We also got off and did the Railroad Museum,
Yep.
and that was, not sure if that's worth it.
It was that was $18, and we only had like a half hour or so to do it. There was probably a little bit more there that we probably could have done. I don't know if it would justify us liking it that much more or not, but
Right.
there were some things on there were kind of cool. I
Right.
mean, seeing the working turntable was neat, but I don't know if it justified $18.
Right. And the tour on the whole was very fascinating. Savannah is a very interesting city, and the tour guides that we had were great. I mean, the information that they, shared with us was, very informative. We got to see a lot.
Yeah, and they were very humorous too.
Yes. And it was an on and off tour, so, you could do it at your own pace. I wouldn't recommend a lot of stops if you're only going to do it one day because it only goes till 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so we went from 10 o'clock. We had to end at 4 because we have to take a shuttle back to the campground.
Right.
So we ended a little bit early, and it really only allowed us maybe a half hour to 45 minutes at each stop, and we got 3 stops in. So
Yeah. There's a lot of restaurants, places to eat, a lot of gift shops that you can explore. And it's, part of it is typical touristy, but it is very informative. And Savannah is really a very pretty city. A lot of big old houses and, it's very historic.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, now the cost of the tour is $50 for adults and I think $20 for children under a certain age. I don't know the age. We didn't qualify for that.
No, and they don't have seniors, so it was.
You're right, they didn't have a senior, but they do offer, you can pick up a coupon that will save you $5 per person, which we had. The campground supplied that. And it also included our transportation here, which was complimentary from the campground. So we didn't have to drive into town or anything either, which was, I think, a savings.
And we're staying at Creek Fire Resort,
Right.
and that was.
And I think they go from other places too, because not everyone on the bus was from the same place.
Right. So that was well worth it. It saved us the time of, having to drive into the city, finding a place to park. Remember where you parked after you finished walking around, and
Yeah.
So that was.
And I think parking could be difficult in a lot of downtown areas.
Right.
Well, if you enjoyed this video,
Please give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already, we would appreciate if you would subscribe to our channel, Zephyr Travels.
hit that bell for notifications. We post videos on a weekly basis. Love to have you follow along. And leave us a comment. Have you toured downtown Savannah? Have you taken one of the bus tours or one of the trolley tours in one of the cities that they offer it? Let us know if you have, and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, and how was it?
Yeah.
So,
So,
until next time, we'll see everybody down the road.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.